Let me be honest with you. I am full of good intentions. Have you ever wanted to help someone and yet walked away without doing anything? That's me. I'm full of good intentions. Here's one from a few months ago. I was sitting in a coffee shop and I looked outside and noticed a man sitting at the intersection. He looked rough. I could tell he was hungry and I could tell he spent a lot of time outdoors. I couldn't read his sign, but I could guess what it said. After all, if you've read one, you've kind of read them all. As I sat there holding my $5 latte between my hands, I felt this tug inside my chest to help him, maybe bring him some food. And of course, right then my phone rang and it was my boss. He knew that I had stepped out for a minute and he was like, "Hey, do you remember that meeting we have in a couple minutes?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I closed my laptop, threw away my trash, jumped in the car, and ran back to the office. It wasn't until I walked through the door that I remembered the guy with the cardboard sign. I told myself after the meeting that I would go down and see if I could help him in any way. But you know how this story goes. By the time the meeting was over, I had completely forgotten about the man with the cardboard sign. But it's not just homeless people that I forget to help. It's victims of poverty or human trafficking. I want to help orphans. I want to help widows. I have a whole list of things I want to do for my extended family. And this drawer, these are all the good things I'd like to do for my wife. And what about the little things? What about the things like seeing trash on the street and wanting to pick it up? Or being kinder to a cashier? Or maybe giving someone a big tip just because you can? So the question remains, why is it so hard to follow through on our good intentions? I think a big part of the problem is what I call the rhythm of my day. My kids love books, and one of their favorite books is a book called The Rhythm of My Day. Let me read a part for you. It says, "Pearls of sunshine on my bed dance about my waking head, rhythm, the rhythm of my day. My tummy gets hungry for something to eat. Here comes my yum yum, a delightful treat, rhythm, the rhythm of my day." All of us have a rhythm to our lives, things that we do without thinking about it. Whether it's brushing our teeth or driving the same way to work or school, it's basic muscle memory, things that we don't think about. And if I'm honest, homeless people, slaves, orphans, they don't really make it into my daily rhythm. So when we talk about good intentions, it's not that we don't want to help other people, it's that sometimes our rhythm gets in the way. So if we want to begin making good on our good intentions, the first thing we have to do is intentionally look for ways to break the rhythm of our day. I remember when I first shared this, a lady came up to me and told me that the idea was not stupid, but that's basically what she said. She said, "If you're suggesting that all we have to do to make a difference in the world is go get a latte at 2:45 p.m. instead of 8 a.m., well, that's ridiculous." And in a way, she's right. But I don't think she got it. Because breaking the rhythm of our day is really just the beginning. If you want to be someone who follows through on your good intentions, you're going to have to be intentional. Now, it's kind of funny because intentional and intentions are basically the same word. Of course, they're vastly different. Here's why all of this matters. Do you know what the main difference is between people who make a difference in the world and who don't make a difference in the world? It basically comes down to one thing. One group, the difference makers, follow through on their good intentions. Think about it. What's the thing that many of the Christian heroes, past and present, have in common? They intentionally pursued making a difference in people's lives. They were intentional about loving God and loving others every day. Hudson Taylor decided at age 17 he wanted to go to China, serve the poor, and tell them about Jesus. So what did he do? He intentionally studies medicine and then intentionally moves into a poor neighborhood just to prepare for his trip. Or maybe it's like some of the people I've met from International Justice Mission who have given up very successful and lucrative private law practices to pull girls out of brothels or rescue slaves from slavery. Or maybe it's like many of the teenagers I've met who coach soccer or serve in a local rescue mission every week just because they want to invest in other people. Some heroes have always worked directly for a ministry. Others use their businesses or jobs to make a difference in the world. But the one thing, the main thing that they all have in common is that they saw a need, they wanted to help, and they followed through with their good intentions. We need more intentional Christians. We need people who will follow through when they see a need and desire to help. But we don't just need more intentional Christians, we also need to help others be intentional too. Instead of sitting in the coffee shop and talking about problems like poverty or human trafficking, instead of talking about problems in the church, in the government, and in our families, instead of talking about the problem of homelessness, what we need is we need to grab our friends, we need to buy some food, we need to walk out of the coffee shop down to the intersection and give the guy something to eat. Not a handout, but a thoughtful response for the opportunity. That's it. That's all we have to do to make a difference in the world. It's simply a matter of following through on good intentions.